I found out my dad had another family when they showed up at my mom's funeral demanding their share of the inheritance. My mom's funeral was supposed to be a time for grieving, a time for us to come together as a family and remember the woman who had held us all together. But as we stood by her grave, saying our final goodbyes, something happened that turned my world upside down. A group of strangers showed up, their faces somber but their eyes filled with something darker, something that sent a chill down my spine. They were led by a woman who looked eerily familiar, but I couldn't place her. And then, she spoke words that shattered everything I thought I knew about my family. "We're here for our share of the inheritance," she said, her voice cold and emotionless. "My children deserve what's rightfully theirs." I looked at my dad, waiting for him to say something, to deny whatever crazy claim this woman was making. But instead, he just stood there, his face pale, his eyes filled with a guilt I'd never seen before. That's when I knew, it wasn't just some bizarre mistake. It was the truth. In that moment, my entire life felt like a lie. My dad, the man who had always been there for us, had another family. A secret family. And now, they were here, demanding a piece of the life I thought was mine alone. The woman, who I now realized was my father's other wife, introduced her children, my half-siblings. The shock of it was overwhelming. I felt like I was drowning in a sea of betrayal, every memory of my father tainted by the knowledge that he had been living a double life. As the days passed, the reality of the situation only got worse. My father admitted to everything. How he had met this woman before he married my mom, how he had kept in touch with her over the years, and how, when their relationship had reignited, he had chosen to keep both families in the dark. He said he didn't want to hurt anyone, that he thought he could keep both families happy. But those words meant nothing to me. All I could see was the pain in my mother's eyes if she had ever known, the betrayal she never had the chance to confront. The funeral, which should have been a time for mourning, turned into a bitter battle over the inheritance. My father's other wife demanded a portion of everything my mother had left behind, arguing that her children had a right to it. My siblings and I were devastated, not only by the loss of our mother but by the sudden appearance of this other family, who seemed determined to take what little we had left. The legal fight was brutal. My dad's other wife didn't back down, and neither did we. But the real battle wasn't in the courtroom, it was in my heart. I struggled to reconcile the man I had always loved and respected with a stranger who had kept such a massive secret from us all. Every conversation, every shared moment, felt tainted by the knowledge that he had been lying to us all along. In the end, the court ruled that my mother's estate would be divided between us and the other family. It was a bitter pill to swallow, but in a way, it was a relief. The fight was over, and we could finally start to move on. My father tried to make amends, to explain himself, but I couldn't bring myself to forgive him, not yet. The wounds were too fresh, the betrayal too deep. But as time passed, I realized that holding on to the anger was only hurting me. My mother wouldn't have wanted me to live with so much hate in my heart. So, I made a decision, not to forgive, but to let go. I distanced myself from my father, choosing to build a life that was my own, free from the lies and secrets of the past. The other family faded into the background, their presence a painful reminder of the betrayal we had endured. But I refused to let them define my future. My siblings and I stayed close, supporting each other through the pain and the healing. And slowly, we began to find peace. In the end, I learned that family isn't just about blood, it's about trust, loyalty, and love. And though my father had shattered my trust, I found strength in the bonds I shared with my siblings, in the love we had for each other and for the mother we had lost. We survived the